Hi there, it's David Young, the Resourceful Coach, and we're going to talk a little bit about today. We're going to do over the next 4 days what I call some Masters specials. Talk about, with the Masters now on, how we can improve your game and understand what these guys are doing to become Masters champions. I'm going to look at 4 key areas, but what we're going to look at today is the number one factor that guarantees you've got a chance. We're not saying you're going to win it, but you've got a really good chance you could be Masters champion. And everybody looks at the golf course and they think the most important thing is about short game because of the severity of the greens, but it isn't. The guys that win the Masters are the best ball strikers. They're the guys who can hit the ball solidly, control their golf ball, and get the ball around the golf course. We look at the severity of the greens, but what we don't realize a lot of the time is the severity of the fairways and how sloping they are. And I don't think, I've never been there, but I don't think you ever find out how severe the slopes are at Augusta until you actually go there. So I think that's a really important thing to understand. What we see on the TV is very, very different. But if we look at probably the 2 greatest Masters champions, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, are definitely 2 of the best ball strikers there's ever been. And what we're going to incorporate today is a little bit about technique and how to improve your ball striking, but use a little bit of my data so you start to manage your game better. And over the next sort of 4 days, we're going to cover 4 key areas that are going to make such a difference to your game. And in time, maybe you'll start winning, maybe not the Masters, but start winning a few more competitions at your own club. So ball striking is everything. And I think what's important, the great thing about Corinthians Golf Club, there's a lot of similarities to Augusta with the slopes. This is a very sloping golf course. We have a lot of downhill lies, ball above your feet, ball below your feet. You've got to go over water from a downhill lie. It creates every possibility that you're going to get in a game of golf. So if you've never been to Corinthians, please come down. We're here in Kent in the UK. Come down. It's a 9-hole course. We play off different tees second time round, but it is a great challenge. People look at it because it's a 9-hole course and think, oh, it's only 9 holes. It's not. It's an amazing challenge. And I'll say to anybody, if you can come here on the first time you've ever played this and play to your handicap, you're a good player. You're doing very, very well. But we're looking at this ball striking. Now, we've just got a shot here, and we're going to incorporate 2 things today, ball striking and data. And we've got a shot here of around about 120 yards, okay? And I don't know if the camera shows it, but the ball here is slightly ball above my feet. And this is a common shot we get here at Corinthians. The ball is above your feet. And it's understanding for me, when you've got an awkward lie, let's call it that, it's a little bit awkward, you're on a bit of a slope, is make sure you work with the slope. Never fight the slope. And what I mean by that, if the ball is above your feet, the number one priority I want to do is feel every golf shot I play, as much as I can, I want to maintain my posture. I don't want to feel my posture changes. So this is actually probably one of the simplest of the 4 different lies we get. We talk about ball above, ball below. We talk about uphill lies and downhill lies. Is that this is probably the easiest one to get right, because what you can do is if you find your normal posture, from then you just let your arms hang down. The first thing you do is just grip slightly down the golf club. It's as simple as that. Don't grip the club and then try and make your posture. Find what is the posture you've been practicing over and over again and feel that you've got that, and just let your arms hang and just see where they go. If the slope's more severe, you might grip a little bit more down the club. And it makes the severity of the slope less sort of feeling like it's going to be less awkward to play. I think that's the best way. We call them awkward lies, but it's less awkward to play as you play that shot. So it's a very, very simple shot. And what it then starts to reduce is that when we get the ball above our feet, we talk about the ball tending to draw or definitely go left. And the thing is, if you grip the golf club at full length and stand away using the length of the club becomes what we call a bit more of a shallower angle. The shallower the angle, the more it encourages a little bit of a draw. Okay, that's what it does. The steeper the angle, the more it encourages a bit more of a pull or maybe even a little bit of a fading shot. It's just the steepness of your swing. So if you're gripping it at full length and then you're leaning back more here, you're making that swing go round your body. The likelihood is you're going to hook the ball more. You do what I'm asking you to do and just find your normal posture and then grip to where you feel comfortable. It will still make it slightly shallower, but not as much. So that's a real important. So that's just a little bit of a help if the ball is above your feet. What we really want to talk about, ball striking. We talked about Nicklaus, we talked about Tiger, and we look at these 2 guys, and well, any tour player, any guy you watch. I mean, we've just had the Players' Championship. Rory McIlroy won that. They're great ball strikers. And the one thing they do better, I'd say, than the average amateur golfer is they hit the ball cleanly. There's no contact with the ground behind. They're not topping the ball. They're always getting consistent contact on the ball. And I think what that does then, it always gives you much more the distance that you're going towards your intended target. So what these guys do brilliantly, if we look at it relative to the camera here, is we've got the angle of the shaft coming directly away from the club, is that what we want to feel when we strike that ball is they're always feeling they want to strike the ball, and then if they are going to take a divot, the divot is after the golf ball. So they're always getting that sensation of that feeling as they go through. So their momentum is always making the ball go forwards, okay? And that's a big thing for me. I say to my golfers, golf is about making the ball go forwards, not about making the ball go up. So we're looking to get that shaft favouring the front of the ball, getting more into that position. If we're back here and we're leaning back, what's going to happen is we could hit the ground. We're going to be on the way up. So think to yourself, what these great guys do, great players do, they hit it a long way as well because they make the ball go forwards and trust the loft of the club rather than try to elevate the ball up into the air. So through lots of practice and hitting balls, they start to understand their ball flight and they start to get the feeling. Then from there, they understand how the ball's going to fly and how far it will go. But they're always getting that connection first. They're always getting that sensation from there that when they're going to hit the ball, everything's moving forwards. They'll always finish, just a little short shot here, they'll always finish much more onto their left side. They're never back here, okay? So the momentum is always moving you through. And when we get this lie here, we've got the ball a little bit above our feet. Again, we don't want to feel the sensation we're leaning backwards. We want to feel the sensation we're driving through the ball. So we're hitting that ball up towards the target and we're getting that consistent strike that we want through the ball. So everything is moving through. And now the golf ball's going up towards my target, up towards the green. So that's the biggest thing. And you can go and look at some of my videos and I practice with things and say, look, to get the feeling, understand where you're striking the ball. But the number one priority, what these guys do well, is they're great ball strikers. And when you look at the stats, that's the number one reason these guys win the Masters. We'll come to 3 other areas in the next 3 videos to demonstrate that. But if you get your ball striking better, you start to get consistency on strike, you're going to get that golf ball up towards the intended target. It's going to make it so much easier to get the results you want. Now we're going to look at a second thing very, very quickly. And you know I like my data. Data for me is so important because it gives you some feedback of what you've got to do. And we're going to talk about ball striking, but the number one stat is what we call greens in regulation. And I always think this is a really sort of, how do we put it? It's a bit of data that for the average golfer, you don't need to concern yourself so much about this. If you're a 15, 16 handicap golfer, you're not going to hit 14 greens in regulation like Rory McIlroy does. So you have to be a bit clever in what you're doing. If you're probably playing off 14, you can hit 6 or 7 greens in regulation. You're doing very, very well. So we're going to look at what is the average sort of par 3 and par 4 holes, okay, for the 3 datas that I use. So we've got scratch golfer, player shooting 80, player shooting 90. And understand if you're playing this length of hole, this is when you should make a par 4. So amazingly, 200-yard hole is a par 4 for a player shooting 90. So if your ball striking's good enough to get yourself up towards the green, chip it on, 2-putt, make a 4, you're doing exactly what you need to do to par that hole. That's your mental picture. If I can get down in 4 from 200 yards, I'm an 18 handicap golfer. Now, if you want to be closer to 8, 9 handicap, that hole lengthens to 260 yards. That's the average time you're going to take 4 shots. And for our scratch golfer, it goes up a similar amount. It goes up to 320 yards. So they're your par 4 numbers. If you can get down in 4 shots consistently from 320, you're a scratch golfer. From 260, you are a single figure golfer. From 200, you're going to play bogey golf. So that's our first bit of data. You've got to have good enough ball striking on those length of holes. Now the next stat you're going to go, wow, it can't be right. What is the average length? You're going to take 3 shots to get into the hole. And we're looking around about, for that guy playing bogey golf, you're going to be 30 yards off the green. That's all it is. You're going to, on average, take 3 shots to get down into the hole. If you're playing single figure golf, we're talking around about 75 yards. And for our scratch golfer, it's around about 110, 120 yards. Okay, only when we get towards a tour player, we're getting closer towards 150 yards. So I see a lot of golfers, you're putting pressure on yourself, and that causes problems. And then you're trying to do stuff that you don't need to do. So improve the ball striking, get consistency of strike, start to learn your distances, and then think, right, par 3 for me, if I'm an 18 handicap golfer, amazingly just 30, 40 yards from the hole. And then 200 yards will be your par 4. If you are a single figure golfer, we're talking 70 yards or so for a par 3, 260 for your par 4. And our scratch golfers looking just over 100 yards for a par 3. And then we're looking around about just over 300, 320 yards for a par 4. And if you can work around that sort of data, it's amazing how you'll start to realize, again, you understand, get your level of expectation in the right place, and it takes the pressure off you. Please go and watch my 12 shots of golf videos. There's about a dozen out there showing you the different shots going around the course, what we would like you to do and what you need to do to play to those levels. Take the pressure off, get your expectations in line, improve that ball striking, and you'll start winning some of your competitions at your club. I hope you've enjoyed today's first video about Masters Week. This will go out on the Thursday. We've got 3 more that we're going to show you the other key areas that are really important and how you can then start to win at your club, or worse, lower that handicap. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Press that little button with the bell, which gives you the notifications when my videos come out, and I look forward to seeing you soon.